What's happening, everyone? Hello, and welcome to the Review Roulette Podcast, the podcast that brings strangers together for a movie night. I'm your host, Laura, and today our guests are Jennifer and Alex. So why don't you join us as I spin the roulette wheel to see what movie Lady Luck has picked for us tonight. Okay, looks like we landed on one, which is, Darkman. So the movie we are watching is Darkman. And this is actually our first guest selected movie. When you're a guest on the show, we ask that you pick a movie that you want other people to watch on upcoming episodes. We take that movie selection, we add it into the movie pool. And so for each episode, we use that movie pool to fill out the 36 slots on the roulette table. So your movie pick could become a future episode. And it's very fitting that our very first guest selected movie is from a good friend of the show, Andres Perez, also known as Kaiju Noir, also known as Draco Azul. Every time I say Draco Azul, I feel like I should be like holding something up to the screen and telling you where to buy it. But okay, it left me. But Andres was on an upcoming Casual Kaiju episode, which is where we watched Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla in 1974. It was him and his friend Matt Denon on for that episode. That was a 4.5 long recording that I had to edit down. So thanks, Matt and Andres. That was great. So Alex and Jen, if you don't like this movie, it's not my fault. It's Andres' fault. So you tell him how good or bad this movie was after we're done watching it. Okay, Nick, tell me a little bit about this movie.
All right, this movie is Darkman, which came out in 1990, and it is the story of a brilliant scientist left for dead who returns to exact revenge on the people who burned him alive. And this is written and directed by Sam Raimi, who's known for such films as Spider-Man, The Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, and Oz the Great and Powerful. This movie's top-billed actors are Liam Neeson, who plays Peyton Westlake / Darkman, and he is known for Kinsey, Schindler's List, The Grey, and A-Team.
Bow, bow, bow.
Bow, bow, bow. It also stars Frances McDormand, who plays Julie Hastings, and is known for 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, Fargo, and Moonrise Kingdom.
I've heard of one of those.
This also stars Colin Friels, who plays Louis Strack Jr. He's known for, obviously, Darkman itself, Water Rats, Malcolm, and Dark City.
Again, I've heard of 2 of those.
I've heard of Darkman. And this also stars Larry Drake, who plays Robert G. Durant, the Cigar Finger Man.
Cigar finger clipping man.
Yes. And he is known for Darkman, of course, The Karate Kid, Dr. Giggles.
What?
And L.A. Law.
Oh, he does a lot of voice acting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. It's probably like 10, 15 years. I just remember like 2 main things is like there's the one part where there's a cat and he wants to pet the cat, but his face is all messed up, so the cat doesn't want him to pet it. But cats are evil, so I don't know why I remember that part. And then the other one was I always remember that this should have been like a Bruce Campbell movie, but the studio was like, Bruce Campbell can't carry a movie. And I was like, that's so stupid, because that chin can carry any movie, no matter how big or how small. But I guess at least they made up for it by it having Liam Neeson in it, because makes everything so much better. Oh, so we'll start with Jennifer, because you're late and you can come first. And then, so everybody that ever listens to this, if anybody ever listens to this, Jennifer has been late for everything her entire life. Jennifer was late being born, and then it just transcended from there. And now it's history now. And now she looks really mad. But I love you, Jennifer. I love you. Okay, Jennifer, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're not ever going to come back on here.
I'm the oldest, more responsible sister.
You were late.
Who doesn't have internet at home and is doing this from work right now, but I'm not actually working. So just to clarify that, like, this is on my time. if anyone is watching, no.
Hopefully somebody will.
Yeah, so what am I supposed to say?
Just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, and then you get to recommend a movie that we put in. So like how we have to watch Darkman because Andres said that we put in a lot of. So you get to pick a movie, and then please let it be below 2 hours because we've had one that was above, and like I had 3 really bored people staring back at me, and I felt really bad. So just below 2 hours, and then but any other movie you want. But yeah, a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you like, what you do.
Not Lord of the Rings.
No. I know you have the special collector's edition DVDs.
I do, and I just watched it recently. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome. Yeah, I was so mad. She thought I stole her DVDs, and then she found them behind the cabinet, and she's like, "Oh, I found them." I was like, "Bitch, no, I didn't have them." Poor Alex is like, this is going to be 2 sisters just yelling at each other the whole time, and then I'm here. I woke up at 7 a.m. to listen to these bitches bitch at each other. But yeah, Jennifer, tell us about yourself.
I was going to say, it's very early there. Yeah. Okay, so I don't really know where I'm from anymore. I'm born and raised in Iowa with my sister. I lived in Vegas for a few years, lived in Australia and Victoria for a few years, and have just moved to Utah, which I have no connections to Utah other than it's a beautiful state. So, yeah, I just moved back during the pandemic and have kind of got settled back down here. I'm a therapist, so that's always exciting, and currently working at a residential facility with kids who have been adopted, so that's been really interesting. Definitely like movies, especially when it's rainy and cold. It gives me an excuse, something I guess else to do, but I don't know. I guess that's about it as far as what to share.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't know. That's the thing as well. It's hard to pick. Honestly, it probably is Lord of the Rings, but I know you'll hate me if you have to watch a 4-hour
I always
movie.
Still remember. I feel bad. But remember when we went to the first one? And so my sister didn't realize that they were a book, or I don't know if you knew, but we went to the first movie and she's like, that's it? I was like, yeah, there's 2 other movies that come out like a year from now, the next year. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, this is like the first act of like 2 more movies. And like Jennifer was pissed. Like she was like, I sat here for 3 hours and they're not even there. Like, no.
I like closure in movies. So honestly, even if it's like not the best movie, as long as it has a nice like wrapped up ending, I'm happy. But yeah, honestly, I struggle with that, which is why I probably binge watch a lot of shows. So Netflix has been awesome for me because then I don't have to wait for cliffhangers. I can just watch the next season.
Like, are you still watching it? Yes. Yes, I am.
I don't know. I guess if I had to pick something on the spot, I would pick the first of the new Star Trek movies. I'm trying to remember if it had a name other than just Star Trek.
I think it was a Star Trek.
Yeah, because the other one was Into Darkness and Beyond. So I like those. I like that because it had Leonard Nimoy in it still. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, I think, isn't the motion picture one the one that's from like the very first one? Because there's like Star Trek the motion picture, which I think is like the Gene Roddenberry one. And then I think, is it just Star Trek?
Yeah, the 2009.
Yeah, I think Gene Roddenberry wanted to be like, I made a movie, so this is the motion picture version, and everyone else is like, that's fine. We won't let you direct another Star Trek movie after this. Okay. And then what?
I picked that one then. Like I said, it depends what type of movie I'm in the mood for, but I would say that's one that I can watch over a few times. Actually, I will pick the first Transformers movie. I will go with that one.
I like that one. I think I stopped paying attention after like the third one.
Yeah, they start getting bad, but like the first one where they introduce all the characters for the first time, I think I like that one. So yeah, I'll go with that. Sorry, I'm indecisive.
No. Okay, so we have Transformers for you. That goes in our little lottery bag. And then we'll go to Alex.
Hi.
Just a little bit about yourself, and that it's 7 o'clock in the morning for you, and I really appreciate that you woke up for this.
It's okay. I usually wake up at 6 o'clock anyway.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. I was like, she wakes up at 10 all the time. I'm like, okay.
No, that's fine. I mean, I have a dog. The dog always wants to go out at that time.
It's like, I've got to pee.
All right. So yes, I'm Rainey. I'm from Australia, if you couldn't tell from the accent, although I've had other Australians ask if I'm from England, which is a bit weird.
No, you just sound proper.
A little bit.
She does. She sounds more proper. I will say that as well.
You're from fancy Australia.
Yes. I know my co-host Flop from my podcast. She's she's a bit less of the refined accent. We make fun of her for it all the time, but I love her. Yes, I have a
did notice there
podcast.
was a difference.
Is she
in your guys'
bogan?
accent.
Very bogan.
Yeah. So my podcast is The Writer's Lock, where we do readings of incredibly niche Pokemon fan fiction from the Nuzlocke community, as the tagline
But
goes.
it's actually really good.
Yeah, it's a whole community of people that write fan fiction based around how they play the Pokemon games. It's pretty fun. Yeah. Other than that, I don't do much else.
That's enough. That's. I was it was weird because when I was listening to your show, I didn't know what to expect. But I was like, I'm sure this is. Yeah, I didn't even know. I honestly didn't know. I was just like, I'm just gonna listen to this because she sent it to me, and I was like, I don't want to be like, I listened, and it was just like, nope, I didn't. Yeah, but no, I was just like, I was very surprised about like the different because it's what it is it. Oh, and then so I've only listened to the first two. Is it the same stories continued each time?
Yeah, so we give each story has like a rotation of maybe like 5 episodes, something like that. We also have one story that we do for the entire run of the season. So mostly just to give people a bit of a taste.
Yeah, because I was like, this is like maybe I'm like I thought maybe it was like a more like an audio drama like the whole time, and I was like, oh no, it's just like different stories, and so I thought that was interesting because I was just like, I have a horrible attention span, so I was just like, oh, it's a different story, and it's a different story, and then I was just like, and I don't like I watched Digimon, that was my Pokemon, so I was like, I don't know any of the things, so it almost seemed more like an interesting like fantasy reading that I was listening to because I'm like, oh, these are magical sounding creatures, and I was just like, oh, this is really good. I was like, I know my husband trying to like lower his podcast down, but I'm like, you might actually like this better because you actually know who these Pokemon are. And I'm just more like, I don't know. I just kind of assume with the first part of the name, like, he must be a lizard if he's Lizardmon. I was like, I don't know. Trying to use some like basic Latin skills and be like, I think that must be this type of Pokemon because it's that. But yeah,
I think there's too many Pokemon now. You ask me what any of the newer ones are, I'm just like, what's that?
I was like, I don't know if it would be like the case for a lot of other like Pokemon Go was my first Pokemon game, and I was just like, I don't know what these are, but they're cute, and I want them in I want to collect them all. But it was different. So I feel bad saying I'm surprised, but it's just like you did good, but it's just like it was more interesting than I thought it could be.
I'm glad you like
not
it.
Even remotely knowing what it was. Yeah. So it was like I feel like anybody could listen to it. It's like, oh yeah, it's not like, and then it's hard because I feel like when somebody says fanfic, I think a lot of people are like, cool. Like it's like no, it's like I don't know. I think a lot of people associate fanfic with like the Twilight and stuff like that. Where it's like, yeah, it's like no, people can like be inspired legitly and not just make schlock. It's like no, you can be inspired by anything and write it out. So yeah, I really
talented people.
Yeah, it's not just werewolves and 50 Shades of Werewolves. Yeah, I think you would like it. I think you would like it. Like I enjoyed it, but I think you would like it more because you actually know you know what's going on and you played it. Because essentially, like I only played the one where I'm like, look at my phone, and then it's over there. It's like that's the only game that I played where it's like my most vivid Pokemon memory is I think I messed up your brother's game and he looked like he was gonna cry.
Oh no!
Because I forgot. Yeah, I think he was like, I haven't saved in like 7 hours, and I was just like, I thought you wanted this turned off.
Oh no!
And I think I don't know if he wanted to cry or hurt me, and I think he wanted to do both.
Probably both.
But yeah,
people get incredibly attached.
Yeah, I was like, maybe he was on a Nas like a Nas. He would do that. He would do that kind of run. But yeah, so I really liked it. I was surprised. Yeah, but yeah. So and then what's your favorite movie?
Oh, let's see. Well, I'm just gonna. I really like the So there's an Australian movie called Razorback. It's about a giant pig roaming the outback.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of my favorite movies.
I'll have to add that. That would be good.
Yes. But if you want one that's a bit more normal, I would recommend The Ghost in the Darkness.
No, we want the giant pig movie.
I would also recommend The Ghost in the Darkness, 1996. It got Val Kilmer in it.
Oh, that sounds good too. We'll add. We need more random movies because essentially, like the first like lot of movies was just like my favorite movies, and so like the first couple episodes is just me subjecting people to my favorite movies, and now it's just like now I have to watch Darkman because of Andres. I'm like, I don't know if I like this show. Now I want to watch it's like I want to just make people watch my favorite movies. But Razorback sounds, and then Ghost in the Darkness, that's the other one. Wait, is that the
Yep.
is that the Lion movie?
It sure is.
No wait. Okay. I've heard about that because I heard I was like my main source of entertainment is YouTube, and then I was watching the lions that they're based off of are at the Field Museum. So I went to this.
Yes,
I
they
went to
are.
this weird like YouTube. I went to this like weird YouTube like downward spiral where I was watching like random YouTube videos about like their skulls at the Field Museum, and I was like, oh my god, like these animals killed people because their tooth hurt, like they had a toothache and they couldn't search for their regular prey, so they started just eating people. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to add that one. So that one sounds amazing. And then when my
great
have to
story.
call you, be like, I don't care what time it is, Rainey. We need you for Ghosts in the Darkness.
So I will wake up earlier if you really, really need it.
Oh, yeah, I was. Oh, that does look. Oh, we just looked up the Razorback. That looks amazing.
It was directed by a music video director, so it's got some very interesting imagery.
Oh,
Mm.
that looks so cool. I'm excited. Yeah, we'll have to add both of those in. Now I just feel like we should be like, we picked Razorback. We'll start Darkman. Yeah. We're excited to watch. Oh, I guess the one thing I forgot to ask either of you, which was the whole one question. Have either of you seen Darkman?
No,
the movie
not
that
at
we're
all.
about to
I
watch.
haven't heard of it before.
Oh, Jennifer might not remember. Jennifer, did you see Darkman? I'm gonna be so mean to you this entire time. Do you remember Darkman? I know you've seen it. No, yeah. You're supposed to talk, Jennifer, because it's an audio podcast. I think you're muted because now it just looks like you're like being a mime, and I feel like you're just being a bitch. We can't hear you, Jennifer. We can't hear.
I actually did mute myself. Now I realize I thought you were.
I talk to you either.
I couldn't hear everything going on
I'm trying to be
above me,
polite.
but I was shaking my head. So no, should I remember it?
It's pretty good. I think, I don't know. I remember watching it with you. Does that matter? No. It was on TV a lot. Matt liked it. Matt would remember.
I don't
That's our
know.
brother.
Yeah, I'll have to see. Like, it's just that's the other thing. I have a terrible memory for movies. Like, if I'm watching it, I'm just completely engrossed in any movie. But then if you ask me honestly, like an hour after, I'll have like struggle to remember everything that was in it.
That is true.
So even if I have seen it, I guess it will be a new
I
experience.
do envy your ability to forget movies because then you get to watch them again and be like, "Oh, this is amazing." I was just like, "We've seen this before." Okay, so I guess
No.
neither of you have seen it, but yeah, it's very good. Essentially, the director of Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, correct? And he really wanted to make an Invisible Man movie, and they told him he couldn't, even though it's like public domain, but they said it wouldn't be successful. And he really wanted to make a superhero movie. So this is essentially the movie that got him to make Spider-Man. So he was like, see, I made Darkman. And it's actually, it's very good. It's very interesting. Like when you watch it, it feels like it's like a reinterpretation of like a 1940s movie. Like you feel like you're watching like the original Invisible Man. Cause I think there's even like he's like taking the bandages off, and it's like, yeah, it's a very good movie.
Okay, we're just gonna go off and watch the movie now. Just so you don't feel left out, here's some highlights from the viewing. Also, don't forget to follow us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's the Review Roulette Podcast. Lastly, if you'd like to be a guest on our show, just sign up on our website. It's www.reviewroulettepod.com. That's reviewroulettepod.com.
He could tell me he could hunt me down and I wouldn't be intimidated at all.
I'd be like, oh, you're so cute. My sister had I don't know why you don't put that in your bio. You're like, I'm a therapist. You're like, no, I was like the lead singer of a band for like a long time, but no, I'm a therapist for kids. But
It's always one of my fun facts is
a rock star, motherfucker. What is that? Knocked my tender spot. Just go. Oh my God, this is definitely Sam Raimi. Ah!
Ah!
I feel like it should just cut to us watching it, being like, ah! I think the elephant is my trigger word.
Oh, he took the elephant.
He just picked it around.
Oh yeah, he did. He took it from her. Yeah, we actually have we have three last episodes. One of them is our Star Wars one, which is the one that it was Jennifer and Andres and my friend Andrew. So Jennifer, you've actually met the person that picked this movie for us. If you remember,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, you said he had a nice voice for radio, even though he has a YouTube channel where his face is shown. But yeah, so I guess neither of you have seen Darkman. What did you guys? Did you guys like it?
Yeah. I have little nitpicks. I have things I can nitpick about it, but I mean, Sam Raimi's films are just so unique. I mean, it's such a unique style. You're not really sure what to think about it because you can't really say it's like bad or good at the same time. It's just a Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah. I like how like his movies are kind of aware of what they are almost. Like I feel like he makes movies where it's like, I'm gonna make a really bad good movie. Or I'm gonna make a bad movie, but I'm gonna make it good. And then it's like confusing because it's like I love Evil Dead and Army of Darkness because I feel like there's a like any other director that made those movies be like, oh, it's just like dumb schlock in a castle.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh,
It
this is
would
really
be so
funny.
unique.
Yeah, and like I feel like Darkman is like somebody wanted to make like one of those, what is it, like those there's the Pacific Rim, there's like the Eastern Rim movie where it's like I feel like somebody wanted to make like a Batman ripoff, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna make the most amazing Batman ripoff, and it's gonna be like Batman and the Invisible Man put together, and then it's gonna be my own style. So yeah, I forgot how much I liked. I was surprised. I forgot how very Sam Raimi it is. But I guess so. And then Jennifer, did you remember that you had seen it, or was it none of it came back to you?
No, yeah, there were definitely parts of it that were familiar, but as it was going, I was like, I don't really remember what was going to happen next, or if it had a happy ending, or how it was going to end. But yeah, no, it was fine.
Cool. So we're gonna do our grade. So our first grade is like A like grading school, like A through F, and our first category is like characters. Did you like Bruce Wayne Walmart version, Liam Neeson? Did you feel like the characters were? I feel like this movie didn't really have that many characters in it, except for like the two main people in it.
No, there really wasn't that many characters. Very insulated. I'd give it a B plus. I mean, there's that ham factor to it.
Well, it's weird because it seemed
Everyone
like
was
there weren't that many
overselling it a bit.
characters, but they were like, we have all of these stunt people, and they're like filled up that like that
Oh, the
beginning
stunt
scene
people
had
were
like
great.
40 people in it, and then they like slowly killed them all off. But I'm like, I don't remember any of the people other than that guy's brother, and I only know him because he was the guy's brother. But yeah, I feel like that's good. And then
Yeah, it
like
basically
Liam,
became the main, like the henchman and his four goons,
yeah,
and the main evil guy.
and then you didn't really realize that he was the evil guy till like almost kind of the end, and you're like, I bet he's the evil guy. He's got to be the evil guy
Because he wasn't really even in the movie before that.
yeah.
Just appeared a couple of times, and suddenly he's like, I am the bad guy.
Like, it's been me all along. It's like, okay, yes.
Who are you?
What was your name? Well, Jennifer, what did you think of the characters?
If I was doing a grade, I guess, yeah, maybe a C.
C. Okay.
We'll go with the C.
I'll go a B, just because it's Liam Neeson and he looks funny. Nick, what would you say? C. It's like I'll let you do the math for that because that's your fun thing. Yeah. And then I don't know, a story. I guess, and then the next category is story, but then it's hard because I feel like it's very generic. but like we had RoboCop as an episode, and I feel like that's a really generic story. But then it's like it's more about what they do with how they interpret that story, because essentially it's like it's a revenge story. But
Basically, yeah.
what would you guys think about the Darkman, Batman, Invisible Man? Oh, I do like that he can only have like he has 90 minutes. It's like
I feel like they didn't really focus on that very much because it felt like that he was out there for way more than 90 minutes.
yeah, they should have showed him like him in traffic being like shit, like why? Yeah,
Can't this taxi go any faster?
because I remember.
Well, and then he has all the masks that are like hanging up in this warehouse, which supposedly they don't last that long, right?
They're just hanging out, and then he had one for each henchman just in case, so he could like he had one of his own face, and then one of the guy with the long hair that he could put over the other guy. I was like, that's a long thought. Like, you know what? I'm gonna Oh, wait, wasn't he in Inception?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna Inception the shit out of some people with this. Just like and then it was like duct tape. Oh, I like how
The double mask thing was actually really really good.
I like
I
how
wasn't
it was-
expecting that.
Yeah, I even like how they like he could have just put like the other guy's face on the other guy, but no, he had to put like the other guy's face on his face and then put it on his actual face. So it's just like, no, I know he's gonna take his face off of him, but then he's gonna shoot me because he thinks it's me, and then that face is gonna fall off. So yeah, it's a lot of that. It seemed very like what because when did the original Invisible Man came out? Like so a lot of this reminded me of that, like where it's just like huzzah. It's like and it like especially when he like takes the bandages off, like his dirty bandages that he the original 1933 was the original Invisible Man. Yeah, I like how it was just like I'm gonna put these movies together. I don't know. And his nasty bandages the whole time.
He had one set of clean bandages at some point and then it just vanished.
I feel like he's like, maybe I'll flip him around and then do like the other side. Maybe that's cleaner or more hygienic. But but Alex, what would you put the story? What would you grant the story?
Pretty much a C. I mean, it is pretty generic after all. But it had its moments.
It's weird that it's two different things put together. They're like, we can't just do Invisible Man. It's Invisible Man and Batman. Like, and then it's a 90s movie all at the same time. But Jennifer?
I don't know. I guess going back to what I said at the beginning, like endings are a big thing for me, and I like the cheesy like happy endings. So
F. You're like, where he's like, I'm the knight who runs away.
Normal again. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably a C or something like that as well.
So is that the only way that would have been happy for you if he would have been like magically normal again?
No, because I get that there's also that value of just having, you know, like he's changed throughout the thing. And like I kind of like that part that he's like, you know, and as I was making this mask, the person underneath had changed, and like I don't know, that was kind of more probably accurate. Because you can't, after all that, go back to how things were.
He murdered people, Jennifer. He murdered. So Jennifer worked in a prison, so I should probably put that out that she's worked with people who have murdered people. But you don't work in a prison now. You work with children. But yeah, I don't know. I think that would be interesting to talk because it's like, well, if people don't work with people like that, you just assume that they're all evil. I wasn't saying names. Do they have HIPAA in Australia? What's it called in Australia? The Australian HB. Okay, never mind. I was trying to put in that like. I'll stop. I'm
Not
sorry.
all prisoners are bad people, if that's what you're trying to say.
That was what I was trying to go with. You just didn't say anything. You're just waving at me. You're supposed to be like, you can't say that because it's an audio thing, Jennifer. It's an audio thing. But I'll edit it out. So never mind. Murderer people are bad people. That's what Jennifer said.
No, you can leave that part in there. They are good. They can be good.
Well, this is a much more of a fantasy movie as well, so
Yeah.
a bit harder to judge on like real morals or anything.
That is kind of the weird thing about movies back then. It was very much more like clear cut. Because like I said, we had just watched RoboCop, which I think came out like a year before. And everything is very much like, this person is evil. It's more like, well, maybe they did that to like there's no like, I robbed this to feed my family. It's more like, I'm horrible, so I'm going to hurt this woman. It's like, it's very interesting how they needed like very clear cut things. Like I think even Dick Tracy's like that. It's more like I'm a bad person. It's like when now it's like it seems like movies more about like the gray area and having that be more interesting. Where it's just like I want to relate to the evil character, so I understand why they're evil, as opposed to just like, oh, that's an evil person. Like, oh, I guess it's maybe two different types of fantasy. Maybe the other fantasy is just kind of easier to fall into. Is like, oh, they're bad, so they're bad. But then it's like,
It's a lot more
oh, I
black and white. I mean, that guy was cutting off people's fingers and keeping them in a
Yeah.
box.
And then,
Yeah, he's definitely the bad guy.
And then it's like, not only is he bad, they had to show that he was like messed up bad. It's like, not only is he just like a murdering goon, but no, he's taking trophies and doing horrible things. So it's just like, no, it's like, I don't know. I think that's interesting. That seems like a very 90s, early 2000s trope where it's just like everything is horrible. This person needs to die, and then you're like, oh, they died at the end, and then the whole time you're like, well, I guess
Yay.
just as good as Darkman. And then I guess that's how you can redeem the fact that he murdered all those people. If he did figure out his face, you're like, oh, he can be normal again because he killed the bad people. It's like, oh, it's just interesting how there's like trends in story writing throughout the years, because now it's just like, I want to relate. Yeah. Oh, but given that, the story is still probably a C, because it's still just Batman, Superman, or Batman and Invisible Man put together. Because
Batman, but in his really dirty cave in the industrial area.
And instead of Alfred, it's a cat. Hangs out with. Oh,
I don't bring you tea. They be rats.
I poop in this box and you clean it. You're like, okay, Darkman. Okay. Oh. That's so funny. But yeah, Nick, what would you say? A B? Okay. You're nicer to this. And then our final one is execution, which is just like how the movie was made and how you feel like the vision of the movie. Do you feel like the vision of the movie was truly executed the way that the director intended? Which I always think is the best category, because it's like you just interpret it what the person thought. You're like, I thought this is not how he wanted it to be made. So Alex, do you think this was like peak perfection inside of
for vision, considering it's a Sam Raimi movie, A. I still have all those little nitpicks and stuff, but I'm really surprised at like how far some things went. Like the special effects were pretty good, and all the stunts were amazing.
I had completely forgot about the whole helicopter thing. And I was just like, there was literally a man hanging from a helicopter, and there's probably another helicopter. And then, because
that helicopter was so close.
It's like, oh, because I was asking Nick what year, like, because I remembered I just watched another weird YouTube vacuum I fell into. Was like, there was on the Twilight Zone, the movie they were filming, there was a horrible helicopter accident, and so essentially I thought after
the one where the kids got killed. Oh no!
Yeah, and it was this horrible thing where it's like these two children were killed, and then they weren't even supposed to be there. Like it was like, not only was it this like safety violation, but it was like this children like labor law violation. So it was just this horrible like shitstorm of like, these people, this should not. So I thought this was after, because essentially I thought after that had happened, there was no like helicopter work like that whatsoever, because it like the one that the kids died in, it was just like the helicopter landed wrong. So it was something that was kind of simple that had went wrong. But I would imagine if you're like flying between buildings with a man hanging from a cable, like that would have been like, I didn't even think of a movie that I've seen anything like that where it's not seen. Like there's the one Transformers thing I can think of where they're like falling through the sky in the building, but like it was so weird to see a man hanging from a helicopter in a movie.
Yeah,
and be like, oh.
Yeah, the only other time I think I've seen that have been in Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah. And those are probably like where they have different laws for things like that, where it's like, oh, like I wonder.
Well, I do know that most insurance companies in Hong Kong won't insure Jackie Chan.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh. This is like, I hang from helicopter, I'm good. It's like, you're like 80 years old, it's fine. You're fine. Like, okay, Jackie Chan. I can't even remember the last Jackie Chan movie I saw. He's still alive, right? He's still doing okay.
Yeah, he's still alive.
I was like, oh.
He might be a little bit more metal than man at the moment, though. The accidents he's been through.
He's a little stiff every time he wakes up in the morning. He's like, oh, maybe insurance would have been a good idea. Like, yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's just so weird to see. And then even like, well, it was funny to see stunts like that actual real stunt, and then to see like Liam Neeson in front of like maybe a TV screen, like holding onto a wire. I just imagine he's standing there just like, it's really windy out here, Bob. It's like, oh my God.
Can you turn the wind machine down?
That's like, It was almost like too much of a juxtaposition. Like
Yeah.
maybe you
The
shouldn't
green
have
screen
gone
stuff
all
was
out.
way too obvious.
Yeah. I was just like, I guess
Uh,
even if you have a movie about a man whose face comes off, you could still be like, that doesn't really look like Liam Neeson, like hanging from that helicopter. But yeah, like I would say that is very much the only thing I'm like I would put this execution at like the same as like an A, but I have to put it as a B because the whole point was Liam Neeson was supposed to be Bruce Campbell, and this could have been another Bruce Campbell movie, and I would have I love Bruce Campbell so much. I was just like I could have had another Bruce Campbell movie, but the production was like we need a more bankable name. It's like
mm.
I can understand that, but Bruce Campbell would have been. So I was going to give it a B. But Jennifer, what do you think this is the true peak pinnacle of perfection for Darkman? Do you think Darkman could have been better?
Yeah, I guess if you take into the consideration like what it was trying to be, I feel like I'm just sticking with my C all around. Like I don't know.
I'm glad you had fun.
I don't know.
I'm glad you had a basic time with us today.
Yeah, that's what I keep like average. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like,
But
like
I can have a wonderful time even if I think the movie was a C.
you didn't fall asleep, so I'm proud of you. I feel like this is like the perfect like what is that like? I don't know what the Australian equivalent of like the TNT channel or like or it's like the one channel that just has like it always has Law and Order and then like schlocky action movies. So it's like that. It always reminds me of like these kind of.
We do have a channel that's actually called Seven Mate. And they show a whole bunch of weird like stuff like that, like just movies or like truck shows, that sort of thing.
What's a truck show?
I don't know, like Outback drivers. Or mining in the Outback.
I thought you meant like so like
ice truckers.
no, like the trucks, like the show cars, like here in Vegas, where it's like, and this is this truck. I was just like, oh, that'd be an interesting show.
Just driving in dirt for like 2 hours.
That is the opposite of what I thought. It was like the show horses of truck shows. Like this is the 1948 Chevy truck that we're auctioning off, and then they drive it in the dirt. You're like, no, it's a priceless artifact in the dirt. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we just have dumb ghost hunting shows and people who married other people and had a bunch of kids shows, or people who
I wish we
married.
had more ghost hunting shows on here.
If you ever come,
It's so funny because I lived in Australia. You know, being from Iowa in the U.S., that doesn't even mean much. It's kind of a flyover state, they call it.
Mm.
And in Australia, when I'd be like, "Oh, I'm from Iowa," and they're like, "Oh, American Pickers," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," like I didn't even think about that. But
I mean
yeah.
that's not. I'll take that. That's not bad. That's better than like, oh, you're from that one place where that guy married those 4 women. It's like, yeah, it's they live next to you, remember? Jennifer?
Yes.
They were your neighbors. He's only married to 3 of them now. I don't know what happened. It was in the news. Yeah, well, he divorced one. Well, he's only legally married to one of them. Yeah, but then one of them was just like, you know what? I'm done. And then she left out. So weird. She's like, you know what? I'm free. But yeah, okay. Nick, what would you say for execution? We'll segue from the I don't remember their last name. I was gonna say the Duggars, but that's the other TLC show that we always have to watch all the time. Yeah. He's like the weird king of like weird transition shots, like woo. Even the beginning with like the different colored smoke, where it's just like it's blue and it's red, but it's or like it reminded me of him trying to like pay weird homage to Psycho. Is when he had like the toilet flush eye, where it was like the hobo when he was the hobo version under the box, and then it was like the swirling down. I was just like, "I'm Alfred Hitchcock." It's like, no, you're not.
Or the transitions when he's freaking out at the carnival with the pink elephant.
Oh God, yeah.
With the lightning and the elephants are moving their heads and stuff.
That's my fault. No, he said take the fucking elephant, and then she does it and he runs off with it.
He runs off with the elephant.
I almost wonder if he did that because he's like, I kind of want the animatronic of the elephant, so I'm gonna make this movie so somebody has to make the animatronic of that elephant, and then I'm gonna take it home. Oh yeah, the finger bending scene where all just like ah.
Yeah.
It was so rubbery.
I know it's so fake, but it's just like fingernail and like finger things, like just
Yeah,
makes me
me
cringe.
too. Me
Oh,
too.
anything with fingers, I'm like, no. Okay, but you said A. Well, if you guys had fun, did you? Oh, yes. I guess enjoyment is like the title or like the number that we don't count because it's just like, did you have fun watching a movie with me? Tell me you had fun watching a movie. Yes, we don't actually count that in the ratings because it seems sad. Because like, I feel like you have to be like, please tell me you had fun watching the movie.
I did have one major nitpick,
what is
and that's
that?
Liam Neeson's teeth being on the outside, like his lips were gone.
Yeah.
But you could, yeah, it's like, how are you pronouncing your P's this whole entire time?
Oh my God.
It bugged me so much. I'm like, you shouldn't be able to say your B's and P's.
Oh. That would be. Oh.
So true. I wasn't even thinking
As soon as
that.
I noticed it, I just could not look away.
Like, oh. I don't know if you would remember this, Jennifer, but do you remember the guy that was burned in the fire in his car, lived in North Cedar? There was this man that he had fallen asleep in his car and somebody had gotten mad at him and started his car on fire while he was sleeping in it. So he was covered in burns. And I remember he had I think he had one hand and he had a hook for the other. But I don't think he had, if he did have lips, they were very thin. But I just remember he had talked a certain way. And then you never realize like how much of your speech, because you just realize you're like, oh, like I talk and it comes out of my mouth. It's like, oh no, it's like there's your tongue that comes with it. There's even your teeth and like your lips that all come with it. It's just like I always just remember he had a certain affect to his speech where it's just like, oh, it's because he didn't have lips. Like, yeah, so it's like weird to see the teeth and then hear Liam Neeson's regular voice come out of it. So I was wondering if the teeth were on top of his, like, I don't even know how that
You could
prosthetic
definitely tell they were.
works.
No, it was definitely laid on top of his face.
Yeah, it was so, and it's weird because his face didn't look bigger. It's like they did a good job with the prosthetics because it's not like, I feel like
Yeah.
with as much as they did and to put an entire mouth on top of your actual mouth, you'd think it'd be like really bulky, but I don't know if maybe even that's why he had a coat, is like to make his scale look different to like his body, to make it like maybe if they did have to bulk his head up,
Oh,
like they would make him have like 3 different coats on because like maybe that would make this, because like, and then you could also like play with like the raise, like even with like this filming, you'd be like, oh, if I film it a little far away, then you won't quite realize like that his head's bigger. Oh, what's the grade? It's a C plus. Ooh. So then Jennifer, you did have the good. We raised it up to the plus of the C. Which I guess makes sense because it is an older movie with some weird random racist things in it that I don't remember.
There was a few of those things.
Oh. I don't even really understand. One of them was him. He said he used to walk up with the Indians when they were doing like he was
The
walking into, like,
construction. Yeah.
He's like, I used to walk up here with the Indians. And I'm like, I don't even know how racist he's being toward what group of people. Because at that time, there could be like, is he talking about like indigenous people or people from India? And I was like, I didn't really associate either of those two groups of people with building buildings.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you had to mention a racial group at all.
I think it was the natives because it was yeah, because I think it was dangerous work, and so yeah, it's probably the case.
Just whoever, yeah. I was, and then like the random Asian man that wasn't Asian. He just looked like he was like, oh yeah, he needed his fingers. Oh, that's such a weird. That's a weird. I wonder how do you even get into like, you know what? I like fingers. I like cigars. I like fingers. That's not. It's a weird thing. But yeah, so Darkman. We gave Darkman a C plus, right? Okay. And I guess we'll cut it off there. But yeah, I was really glad you guys came. And then if you guys have anything you want to, I guess if you have anything you want to plug or shill, we'll shill time. Jennifer, do you have anything you want to? I know you don't necessarily have anything to shill. Are you in any bands or anything now that I don't know about? I haven't heard about.
No, I just work like all day, every day, pretty much it feels like. But it's just kind of crazy because it's Christmas and when kids are away from their family, you just like do more. But no, I don't have anything specific to plug.
With Alex, what do you got?
All right. Well, yes, I got my podcast. So that's The Writer's Lock. That's Lock with an E. Yeah, we do readings of incredibly niche Pokemon fan fiction from the Nuzlocke community. I know that tagline by heart now. And also, yeah, I'm voice acting for Scry Productions in his Godzilla Apex series.
Oh, nice.
And I'm playing the role of King Kong.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the first episode of that is out now.
Coming on. Hopefully it was fun and we got to watch Darkman. And then if you guys didn't like Darkman, just go bother Draco Azul / Andres Perez / Kaiju Noir and tell him that you didn't like this movie because it's his fault that you had to watch it. But then if anybody ever has to watch Razorback, Transformers, or what was the other one?
Ghost in the Darkness.
Ghost in the Darkness, then you might have random people being like, I hated, or I can't imagine they would hate Razorback. That looked great.
So good. So good.
This has been Review Roulette. A special thanks goes out to our guests, Jennifer and Alex. And lastly, if you want to be a guest on our show, just go to www.reviewroulettepod.com. Again, that's www.reviewroulettepod.com. Thanks. Bye.